Let's look at the following problem of calculating electric field from the electric potential. An electric charge with strength plus Q is distributed uniformly on a thin ring of radius A. So that is that red ring right there. The ring is placed in the YZ plane as shown. Its center is positioned at the origin. A second charge, minus Q, is placed at the origin, so that is shown as a blue dot at the center. Part A. Find the electric potential at point P, a distance x away from the origin. Part B. What is the electric field at that point? And Part C. How does that electric field vary for distances that are large compared to the radius of that ring? In calculating the electric potential of the system at point P, we have to consider two contributions. The first contribution is due to that positively charged ring, and the second contribution is due to that point charge which is located at the origin. So we shall do this one at a time. So this figure shows just the ring without the point charge in the middle. So let's compute the potential due to this ring at that point P. Electric potential for continuous charge system is given in a following form: 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught integral of dq over r, where r is the distance from an elemental charge to the point of observation. If we were to apply this equation to the system at hand, we have to divide this entire ring into a tiny element of elemental charge. Now let's assume the amount of charge within that shaded region is dq. The distance between that charge and the point of observation is given by that, and we know from Pythagoras' theorem that distance, which we can denote by r, is square root of a squared plus x squared. So that means the potential that this amount of charge creates at that point is quite simply 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught dq over r, which is square root a squared plus x squared. To determine the potential created by this entire ring at point P, we need to sum up contributions, such contributions that covers the entire ring. So mathematically that means we need to sum up such terms so as to cover the entire ring. And of course in this case, or with any continuous charge distribution, this can be accomplished by simply integrating the contribution from a single element, and that represents the potential at point P. So let's look at that integration. This is a constant, so that can be taken out of that integral sign, and you get dq over the square root of a squared plus x squared. For such a ring charge system, as you move along that ring, x does not change because x is still measured from the origin to point P, and a is a constant. So those two can also be taken out of that integral sign, giving us 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught square root a squared plus x squared integral dq. Integration of dq is just the total amount of charge on that ring, which is just q. So there we have it. The electric potential due to just that ring at point P is given by q over 4 pi epsilon naught square root a squared plus x squared, where x is the distance from the center of that circle to the point of observation. Let's denote this potential with a subscript plus q. Now let's look at this system, a point charge with a strength minus q sitting at the origin. What is the potential it creates at point P? That is pretty simple. Its potential at point P is given by Q minus Q, that is, over 4 pi epsilon naught that distance, which is x. So for a system that consists of both contributions, the total potential is the sum of these two contributions, like that. And from the earlier slide, the first term is Q over 4 pi epsilon naught square root a squared plus x squared, and the second term is minus Q over 4 pi epsilon naught x. And that's the answer for part A. So let's write the answer to part A there. Now what about part B? Part B asks you to determine the electric field at point P. Electric field is a vectorial quantity, whereas electric potential is a scalar quantity. In case of electrostatic systems, these two quantities are related. Knowledge of this enables you to calculate that, and this is the result that enables you to do that. Electric field is given as minus x derivative of the electric potential times the unit vector along the x direction. Now you don't have y contribution or z contribution because for the electric potential, the only variable that shows up in its expression is x. So let's do the derivatives of these two terms. The derivative with respect to x of the first term, which is 1 over square root a squared plus x squared, is standard. It is quite simply minus x over a squared plus x squared to the power 3 over 2. One can use the product rule to show that. Now the second term, the derivative with respect to x of minus 1 over x, that is just 1 over x squared. So let's substitute these two results in this expression, keeping in mind there is still constant that you need to write in front. Substituting, you get minus that constant q over 4 pi epsilon naught, the derivative of the first term, which is minus x over a squared plus x squared to the power 3 over 2, and the derivative of that second term gives you plus 1 over x squared. And don't forget I hat, the unit vector. Of course, you can absorb this negative sign inside the bracket, and that would make this negative go away. This would become a plus, and this will become a minus. So there we have it, a complete expression for part B. Note that the direction of the electric field is purely along the x direction. Now let's get to part C. How does the electric field vary for distances large, much larger than the radius of that ring? So this is the expression that we have worked out in part B for the electric field. Let's rewrite the first term. The first term in the bracket, which is x over a squared plus x squared to the power 3 over 2, can be rewritten in the following manner. X over, let's take out the x squared, like that, and it becomes 1 plus a squared over x squared 3 over 2, which then becomes x over x to the power 3 times 1 plus a squared over x squared to the power minus 3 over 2. And this simply becomes 1 over x squared. You see, when x is much larger than a, then that ratio a over x will be very small. Then according to a binomial expansion, 1 plus, let's say, b to the power n, when b is very small, is quite simply 1 plus nb. It can be approximated to be 1 plus nb, especially when b is very small. So in this case, applying that, this is just 1 over x squared times 1 minus 3 over 2 a squared over x squared. So let's substitute the expression inside there. So the term in the square bracket will become 1 over x squared, that is this term, minus 3a squared over 2 times x to the power 4, and then you have that term minus 1 over x squared times all the constant. And 1 over x squared, there are 2 of them, they will cancel each other, giving you the following expression for the electric field for those large distances. It is just minus q over 4 pi epsilon naught times 3a squared over 2x to the power 4. Don't forget I hat. Let's simplify it a little bit. Minus 3qa squared over 8, this times that, pi epsilon naught x to the power 4 I hat. So that is the expression for the electric field at large distances. The presence of x to the power 4 in the denominator signifies electric field due to a quadrupole. So what that shows for a system such as the one shown here at very large distances from the system of charges there, namely for distances which is much larger than the radius of that ring, the electric field at those distances can be viewed as that of a quadrupole. Thank you for watching.